What is up, guys? Belamy Prime here, and welcome back to another episode of Prime Survival. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of work with our livestock, but we're not going to be doing any kind of Gumby stuff with our with our cow and sheep farms from early on in Prime Survival. In fact, we may actually move this or upgrade this in the near future, but not in today's episode. Today we're going to be working on some automatic sheep shearing. What do we call these? Stations? Farms? It's an automatic wool farm, basically. But instead of doing a kind of basic wool farm, we're going to be doing a little bit of a colorful one today. And this episode is inspired by another YouTuber named Pixlriffs. I saw his video doing a build similar to this a long time ago, but it might be at least a year ago now at this point. And pretty much every Minecraft survival world I've played since I've seen that video from Pixlriffs a long time ago, I've had this built, and I build it super early because at various points in our survival world, we're most likely, or we're definitely going to be using all sorts of different colors of wool. So I'll explain kind of how this build works. And to do that, you need to understand exactly how sheep mechanics work. If you don't already know, when you shear a sheep, if I go ahead and, do I have some shears on me? No, yes I do, I got some shears. So if I go ahead and, jump in here and shear all these sheep, basically, the only way, so you can see them just there, a few of them actually reset their wool there and replenish their supply of woolliness on their backs. So the way that they do that is they actually will eat grass. So if I can see if I can try and catch one doing this here, essentially they'll throw their heads down. It's so loud here, oh my gosh. I'll get a couple more. They'll throw their heads down and they'll bite a bit of grass, and then it will turn the grass into a dirt block temporarily, and they'll get their wool back, just like this guy did here. You can see these guys have been pretty busy eating all the grass. And obviously, after a bit of time, the grass from here will spread, and all of this will turn back into grass. And it's essentially an infinite supply of food for these sheep. You can see most of them have already replenished their wool. So that state change that actually occurs when the sheep eats the grass, turning it from a grass block into a dirt block, can be detected by an observer. And essentially what we're doing is we're setting up an observer here that is facing into the block that is beneath the sheep here. And when the sheep will eat their grass, turning it to a dirt block, the observer under here will actually trigger a redstone pulse, which travels through this block into our dispenser up here. And our dispenser, which is right next to our, our sheep, just here like you just saw, will actually use one of the shears that we leave in the dispenser and automatically instantly shear the sheep, dropping the wool onto that box, onto that dirt block, which will be collected by this hopper minecart here, which will then be collected by this hopper, and that will feed into this barrel, and then I also have an additional hopper feeding it into this barrel. So we have a bunch of white wool here that's been collected. We already got 16 wool here, and I've had this up for about 10 minutes or so here, so that's pretty good. And I've gone ahead and built a second one here too. So we've got white and currently grey wool that's going to be collected here as well. Why isn't this one working? Did I not put something in? Oh gosh. Oh no, it's because the grass hasn't actually grown here yet. But what we're going to do is we actually haven't dyed this guy yet. So he's going to be white. He's going to provide us with white wool. So we're going to go ahead and take a little bit of grey dye here. And we'll actually dye him really quickly. We'll actually need a grey stained glass to replace the one we're about to break. But what we'll do is we'll just really quickly break this one here, dye him the right color, and then we'll cover that back up. And that is a grey sheep there, and when this starts actually functioning, when the grass block beneath him turns into grass here in a minute, that will start functioning and providing us with a consistent, slow supply of grey wool, which will feed into these two barrels here. So that's essentially the way the system works. You don't have to go out of your way to put the colors. Like here, we've got some white wool at the front of the build here, and grey at the front of this one, and then we've got white stained glass and grey stained glass. This is absolutely not necessary. You don't have to kind of color code the glass according to the color of the sheep and the wool that it's going to be providing. It just ends up looking really, really nice in the end. You guys will see that for sure. But as long as you have glass above this thing, you kind of want to build this with glass, because the grass won't be able to grow unless there's an efficient amount of light shining through onto the block. So it needs to be a transparent glass block on this part of the build, otherwise it actually won't function. You guys get the idea. But that's simply how it works. We're going to go ahead and build our next one here to show you guys how to do that. Before we do that, we'll actually go throw our bed down over here and have a quick sleep. Oh, it's not quite night yet. We'll have to wait another couple of minutes. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to go and build our next little setup. And we're probably going to build a light grey one up next to the white one up here. And then I think we're going to do one of these for every single dyeable color. I've gone ahead and prepared a bunch of glass, wool, and dyes for all of our sheep set up here. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and do that in the form of a time lapse. But before we get into the time lapse and go ahead and build all of those, we'll show you guys exactly how to actually build one of them to begin with. So for this build, you're going to need a number of things. Firstly, you're going to need observers and dispensers. You're also going to need barrels or some kind of storage, i.e. you could use chests, but I find barrels are definitely more useful. You'll also need some rails, some hoppers, a little bit of redstone, some glass, and then you'll either need some wheat or a lead to lead the sheep into the contraption. You'll also need some mine carts with hoppers, and you'll need some dirt as well, and then shears to put in your dispenser. So that's pretty much the extent of what you're going to need for today's build. And there we go, we see this one finally grew, and it's functioning nicely. There we go. Alright, so it's fucking real good. We already got 5 grey wool in there. Great. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and continue building this one for now. And what we're going to do first is we're going to take some dirt, and we're actually going to build 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like that. And that's going to be our grass platform, and we just want to build that first because we want this grass to actually begin growing out onto this one, so that as soon as the thing is set up and working, it will begin to function immediately. And in fact, we actually don't want to have this one here, so you can go ahead and build it like that if that's how you want to do it. Now, I'm going to put wool on this front one here. You could go ahead and put dirt or whatever it is you would like there, as long as essentially this block here and 2 blocks either side of it, or at least 1 block either side of it, is going to have grass on it, so that the grass can travel from this block to that one, or from that one to that one, if that makes sense. So the first thing I like to do is I'm going to go ahead and grab all my colors first. So we're going to need some light gray glass, light gray wool, and our light gray dye. And I'm going to put our grey wool at the front here, just to kind of show that this is the color that's going to be shown here. And then we're going to put our barrels. We'll start at the bottom. Starting at the bottom after putting the grass in is generally the way to go here. So we're going to do that first. So we're going to take our barrels and our hoppers, and this is going to be the first part. So I'm going to go ahead and break this block here, place a barrel like that, and then break this block and place a hopper facing into that barrel. Now I'll point out that putting this barrel and this hopper is actually unnecessary. It's just to extend the inventory of the wool, essentially, to give you an extra barrel of storage. You could go ahead and just not do these two here, and then just start from this point, which we're about to do now, which is just a barrel like so, with a hopper facing into it. Now, if you didn't do the first two, you'll just have a hopper and a barrel, and you'll have a single barrel worth of storage, which is perfectly fine, unless you're planning on playing your survival Minecraft world a lot and accumulating a lot of wool over time. You absolutely do not need the additional barrel and hopper, but I like to put it there just in case. And okay, so the next thing we're going to need is we're going to need our our minecart with a hopper, and we're going to need our rails. So let's go ahead and shift click our rail on like that, and then we'll place our minecart on top just like that. The next thing we want to do is we want to actually take our observer, and we'll go ahead and shift click. Oh, okay, it's not going to let us do that. We'll actually take some dirt here. This will make this much easier. So I'm going to go ahead and put a dirt at the side, at that side, and then at the front, and then we may as well fill in these two pieces. And then that's going to basically allow us to stop this minecart from moving in any way. So you'll put a dirt block there to block the minecart in, then put your observer like so, put a dirt block behind it, and then you want to take a single dot of redstone and place that up on there like that. You want to make sure that it's the actual like star X thing like this. You don't want it to be the little dot. Let me just jump up here so it's not quite just jumping around like a madman to show you guys everything. You want it to have the little X like this. That means it'll actually be feeding into the dispenser that we're about to put here. So we'll take the dispenser and we'll go ahead and place it like so. You want to make sure it's facing outwards towards the front like so. And then you want to have at least one set of shears inside this dispenser. So one set of shears is going to last you a fair while. The durability isn't going to go down very quickly, but I like to fill it with shears because I have plenty of iron spare because of our iron farm, and this way I'm not going to have to really fill it up with shears anytime soon. You can see these things are functioning quite nicely while we wait here. And then I'm going to go ahead and take my light grey stained glass. You could do this with any glass, or you could even just do glass as long as the glass is over this block. And just to be safe, you probably want some over these two blocks on the side. But I like to kind of border it with the stained glass all the way around. So I'll do it like that. And then I'm going to actually get, I'm actually going to need a little bit more stained glass here. So I'm going to take my crafting table here. I'm going to get one light grey dye, place it in the center of a crafting table like that, and I get myself some light stained glass. Perfect, like that. And now we're going to have to build a slight little path for our sheep friend to climb on up to there. So I'll place a block like that, a block like that, and a block like that. And then we can go ahead and grab our sheep friend from over here in our pen. I'm going to use a lead because the lead works much better than the actual wool. Than the actual wheat. Because we can actually hold other blocks in our hand while leading the sheep instead of having to hold the wheat out absolutely 100%. So we're going to go ahead and bring this guy over here, and you see I can actually hold out like my light grey stained glass here while we're leading him over in this direction. So we're going to go ahead and pull him up this little bit of a makeshift staircase we've made here. So we'll pull him up to here, and then we'll do something like this. Up you come, fella. And we'll have to place a block like that for temporarily. We'll just kind of pull him into here. We'll break that because we're up here now. And try and pull him as far into the corner as we can. In you come, buddy. There we go. And I'm just going to stand here and kind of push him back. And there we go. We can encase him in like that. And he is in there. And that's pretty much it. It's ready and functioning and ready to go. What I will actually do, though, is I'll actually break this and just kind of take the lead off of him because I want that lead back. And then I can jump down here and break these three things of dirt. And my lead should be in the hopper there. Perfect. And that's functioning. All we're essentially waiting for now is for this grass block. There we go. It's functioning, but I just realized we didn't actually dye him. So he's actually still a white sheep, which is fine. We'll go ahead and break this. And actually, I've just realized I made it a bit of an oopsie because we're going to have to just go ahead and switch that redstone so this doesn't actually function anymore because I can't dye his wool until it grows back. So we'll have to wait until that grass comes back, his wool grows again, and then I'll dye it grey, and then I can replace this block here. Bit of a mess around. You probably want to avoid doing that. Probably go ahead and dye your sheep before you put him in there, just to make things easier for yourself, because you don't want to be messing it up like I just did there, because you'll end up, wasting a little bit of your own time. But it's absolutely fine if you mess up a little bit. I've said this many times in my previous videos before. Don't get upset with yourself if you accidentally mess a few things up. It's part of the joys of Minecraft, is getting through a build. You're never going to do it perfectly from start to finish. Even if you're a YouTuber, even if you're the best Minecrafter in the world, it never goes perfectly. So we're going to wait for this guy to get himself some wool back, and then we can go ahead, dye him. We'll replace this block, and then that's functioning perfectly well. You can see it already worked once, it's just that his wool was the wrong color. So yeah, that's how that's going to work. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put a black wool one here, and then I'm going to do every single color along here next to it. And I think that'll look pretty good at the end. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and fix this guy, sort out his wool color, and then I think I'm going to go ahead and record this the rest of this build in the form of a time lapse. So I'm going to go ahead and bring my camera account in here and set him up in a nice position and enjoy the time lapse, guys. Alrighty guys, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the time lapse. That was heaps of fun for me to build. Before we kind of talk about this, the first thing I want to address is the fact that we kind of got an empty spot here. I'm actually reserving that for our brown wool that we'll eventually put in. I don't actually have any kind of brown dye or any means of getting brown dye just yet because I haven't found any cacao beans or cocoa beans, however you want to call it. So I don't actually have any brown dye or any means of getting it. I was actually like when this guy spawned in the middle of the build there or towards the end, I was like, oh my god, please tell me he has some way of us actually getting some brown dye, but he didn't, unfortunately. So as it stands right now, I think it looks pretty good. We're missing the brown, but we'll get that eventually. We might go for a little bit of a fly on our elytra, see if we can't find ourselves a jungle biome or something along those lines. Or maybe we'll just hope that a wandering trader shows up to give us the color that we want. But I'm thinking, I think it's looking pretty good. You can see that I put a little bit of a stone path kind of up and around it, so you can kind of move about and do your thing. I can hear a zombie. I actually think a zombie might have randomly spawned in one of our open spaces underneath here, so I might actually after the video go in and fill in all of that space with some dirt blocks. But I think it's looking pretty good. I'm pretty happy with the results of the time lapse, and it seems like all of these are pretty much working now. It's taking a little bit for some of these to actually grow grass on them, so this purple one isn't working just yet. But for the most part, oh, we left a leash in there. For the most part, they all seem to be working. This one obviously isn't because there's no brown. But yeah, they all seem to be working pretty great. And actually, I'm assuming, yeah, so we're almost close to a stack of white wool already. That was one of the first ones I had up, so that's not too surprising. And yep, seems like they're all functioning just well. Yeah, I can hear a zombie right there. So anyway, guys, once these last few bits of grass grow on the ones that haven't started working up yet, it should fire up and start producing. Oh, hello. That Enderman just spawned and placed a block here. That guy, he just crashed my video. This jerk, where'd you go? Okay, where was I? Yeah, once these grass blocks actually spawn, I think it'll start to actually look pretty good and it'll start functioning quite nicely. It's probably going to bother me a little bit that we don't have the brown in yet, so I might have to go for a little bit of an adventure to find myself that. But yeah, you can see I left a little bit of a gap here between the actual colors and our like grayscale colors over here. The reason I did that is because in the future, if I end up needing to use more of these kind of main non-color colors, I don't know what you want to call them, the grayscale colors is what I'm going to refer to it, I may actually extend these ones and make 2 of each of them. So I'll make like an extra 4 out this way. So I kind of left a little bit of a gap here just to segregate them, and I thought it would look a bit nicer like that anyway. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. We just need to kind of get the brown in there. So that's going to be it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, like, comment, and subscribe. And give me any suggestions you would like for me to muck around with in any future videos. Go show some loves to Pixlriffs. Not that he needs it compared to me anyway. That guy's killing it on YouTube with his Minecraft content. Inspired by Pixlriffs, I love his video on this build, and I couldn't not have this in my survival world. So I had to build it, and I didn't want to just show up one day in a video and just be like, hey, look what we built off screen. So I wanted to make a video of us putting it together, just in case by chance you guys didn't actually somehow see Pixlriffs' amazing video on this. So go show that video some love if you haven't. He does an amazing job, and he was at this way before I was. And yeah, it's a great video. I can't praise it enough. But anyway, guys, I had a lot of fun building this fun today. We're going to have more than enough colored wool in the future for any builds that we need to undertake. So that's great. We got this passively generating now. I'm probably going to go ahead and fill in the rest of the little gaps that I left in here so we don't have zombie sounds constantly when we're near our automatic wool farm here. And then maybe I'll go for a little bit of a fly off into the distance and see if I can't get myself some brown dye and finish this bad boy off, because the completionist in me is going to be bugged by this. But anyway, guys, I've been Belamy Prime. This has been Prime Survival, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers, guys.